Welcome back. PrepperNow. I want to talk tonight about this article I read. Um, it's a podcast. You can find it on YouTube. I didn't watch the video. I read the transcript. I'm more of a reader than I am a watcher. I don't know. It's weird. I can actually read quicker than I can watch videos. Gotten pretty good at reading things pretty quickly. Especially, when you're doing the crisis report and you see all this stuff coming in and you have to manage it quickly. So reading for me is kind of my go-to medium when it comes to stuff. Sitting there and watching people, talk and all that, it's all fine and well. It's good if you're mowing the lawn, you put a podcast on and all that. But for me, reading is kind of quicker. So I read this. I haven't seen the full transcript. I know there's more in there, but Eric Weinstein, I'm not sure exactly who he is. He's obviously respected. He is on a podcast, and the discussion is basically, will they allow Donald John Trump to take office? And he kind of alludes to the fact that no, it's not going to happen. So we have talked over on this channel extensively about the interregnum, as I like to call it. It's old term, inter, between, regnum, reg, king. So it's a time between kings. So of course, popularity contest happens in November, and then by January, late January, we're putting a new person in. We're inaugurating, right? Well, this guy goes in and starts to talk about this international rules-based order, okay? Now, you could call this kind of the political action of Bretton Woods. This is the post-World War II agreement, as he said, whether, implicit, explicit, or clandestine. It's kind of an understood thing, and that in the American political tradition, we don't really let just anyone into office. What do you mean? Well, we, as he puts it, prune out people that are not in the club. Okay? We all remember the famous quote by George Carlin, "It's a big club and you and I are not in it." Well, it's never rung more true than right now. Okay? It is a big club, and Donald J. Trump is supposedly not in it. Now, I know I'm going to get someone on here who's like, oh, he's in the club. This has all been pre-done before. They know it. He's in on it. He's, the selected guy that's going to bring us to conflict. I'm not saying that's not incorrect. I'm just saying let's just play like things are normal, okay? It is what it is. What you see is what you get. And it's not some big nefarious thing by a bunch of Templars or Jesuits or anything like that. Okay, I've been accused of being a Jesuit and all that and all the other things, and I'm a deep state CIA guy, and me and my blog here. You want to believe that? Go for it. So this guy comes out and he basically says that in the history of the country, and when we pick things, when it comes to our presidents and the higher-ups in our government, there is this order. There's a rules. There's a way we do it. And someone like Trump shouldn't be allowed in. And they have gatekeepers to make it so people will not, just get in anywhere. So, he calls it the rules-based international order. And basically, Trump's presidency in 2016, in his mind, disrupted it. And they're not going to allow him to take over in 2024. I think it's a very legitimate thought process, a war game, a game theory of all this. Like, what happens if DJT is not allowed to take over? So let's talk about what he thinks the system is, and I agree with him. Again, this is normal time. Okay, we're going to go normie on this one. If you think space alien lizards run the country, you might want to sit this one out. Okay, I'm not saying that's not possible. Okay, I'm just saying let's just pretend that everything is as it seems, and it's not, the movie They Live, and this one can see. Let's just say it's just, normal politics as usual. So he basically said that in 2016, Trump should not have gotten in, and that he somehow, as he puts it, beginner's luck, gets into the presidency. And of course, we all saw what happened with that. What happened? Well, everybody pissed and bitched and moaned. And I mean, if I were the press's parents, I would smack them upside the head and be like, you know what? Stop whining. I mean, I've never seen a group of adults piss and moan and do everything they can over everything a person said. And it's because, he wasn't supposed to be there. So basically, like, okay, he's not supposed to be there, so now we got to get every big wuss on the screen to sit there and just tell you about why he's not supposed to be there. And the psychological operation began. Started with the bust of MLK. Then all of a sudden, Trump's getting urinated on by Russian hookers. And then, from there it goes on. Then you got Russiagate and all that. Oh, he was, the only reason why I got in is because Russia did. And all this crap came out and inevitably was found, for the most part, a lot of it, to be utter horse crap. And why was that all that we heard? Because it wasn't about it actually being real. It was about it just sitting there and hammering it into people's heads. So my normie wife now, even though she enjoyed the financial aspect of the Trump presidency, she sees the man and she just gets pissed off because all of her little stupid woke influencers, the people she follows, they were all bitching and pissing and moaning about it too, even though the alternative, especially in 2024, they will beg on their knees to get old Orange Man bad back if Kamala takes it, right? So he says that there is, a group of people in the background, I think we all agree with that basically nudge things in a certain way, okay? He says there has been a system in place, whether understood explicitly or behind the scenes or implicitly, that says the purpose of the two American parties is to prune the field of populist candidates so that whatever two candidates exist in a face-off, they're both acceptable to the world order. And who is that world order? It's the banking system. It's the banking. It's the financial, the corporations, hedge funds, Klaus and his buddies, People making money off all this stuff. Something comes in and disrupts, it makes them make less money, and then they get all aggravated and butthurt because they can't, drink a wonderful fine wine at their next $1,000 a head meal, or wherever the hell it is, okay? So, the rules-based international order, some call it, the Bretton Woods system after World War II, whatever. Dollar is the reserve currency. Control is held by the West. Well, all that's up in the air. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, these rich jerk faces are kind of wanting to shift things over to Asia. Why? Because they don't like little plebeians like you and I getting all uppity. If we are, we have the ability to speak and we want our rights and we wanted to be able to protect ourselves and, we want a trial by jury and all that, all those, terrible Western things. They don't want it. Someone said a lot of that had to happen in France because Voltaire went and visited England, and he saw, because in the 18th century, the English were the most free. And he brought those ideas, and he started to write, and then it inspired all the other Enlightenment thinkers. And then you have what we have now. Well, now that's old news. We can't have that anymore. These are the great-great-great-great-grandchildren, all the rich a-holes that been running the show, and now it's time to scrap that old way and go on over to a little bit more of a Chinese kind of style where it's crony capitalism, which we're already completely devolved into. But it's crony capitalism with no political voice for the little, plebeians, and they can sit there and get their sack of rice and shut up and do their job, twist the knobs, and, let the big smart thinkers do all the important thinking and stuff, because we're too stupid to be able to do it on our own. That's what our masters want for us now. In my mind, this is all opinion. This is my mind. This is what I think. I think they're just tired of it. They're tired of sitting there having to play the game. They're tired of, people getting uppity if, things don't go their way. A lot of other things are playing into it, but you get the point. This is very, very broad brush, general speaking, we're saying here. Again, believing, of course, that we're not ruled by overlord space lizards, okay? So, system of agreements, fragile, could be overturned if DJT returns to the Oval Office and he doesn't agree with them. And then when you see things of him going out there and, they already made one attempt on him, he gets RFK's withdrawal and endorsement. RFK basically came out and said, I want to take on big pharma. I want to take on all these big, superstructures that are kind of urinating all over everything in the name of power. This is a formidable populist movement that is happening, and the people in the background don't like it. They don't want it. So, two candidates, either of which is acceptable, you could actually afford to hold an election. Well, DJT is not acceptable. So people like, Brian Kemp, Georgia, gets tapped on the shoulder. Hey, man, you got to do things to trip this up. Other people, same thing. News Corp, Fox and all that. Paul Ryan, they're told they have to do things to persuade the public that the old orange man bad should not hold power. Man should not hold power. He should be, stopped by any means possible. And judging by the attempt, they are willing to do any means possible. So he goes on to say, and this is where we're getting to the doom. I know you guys like the doom. Got to get to the doom, right? He goes on to say that, he says, I don't have a particular dog in this fight, but I believe in democracy. I also believe in international agreements. He's playing both sides of the fence. Job of the State Department, intelligence community, and the Defense Department to bring this problem in front of the American people and say, we have a problem. You don't know everything that's going on. And he started voting in populist candidates. So let me back this guy up. We all know what's going on now. Sure, you've got some mouth-breathing idiots that sit there and watch Dancing with the Stars and, masturbate to TikTok all day long. There's always going to be a contingent of those idiots. But most people that are out there working their day jobs, doing their things, trying to save up for a little vacay and all that, they've noticed. Things are not as good as they used to be, okay? And they started to think, well, you know what? I've been voting certain ways for all of my life, and it never gets better. No matter what I do, who I choose, who they put up, I go to the one letter, and it doesn't get better. And I get mad, and I switch to the other side of the coin, or the other letter, It doesn't get better. It doesn't get better. I'm going to vote for a guy that's outside the system, seemingly. And lo and behold, right when the time comes, Donald J. Trump is there. He knew this was coming. He timed it. And he could tell. You could read people. He said, people are mad. They're unhappy. We're in endless wars. Our money is worthless. We eat crap, toxic, everything. Toxins are in everything. Microplastics are in all of us. All of these major problems are going on. The American people are ready for an alternative, right? So he starts and somehow pulls it off. 2016 pulls it off. So they do everything they can, and they get him out into 2020, okay? But he's back in 2024, folks. He's back. What does that mean? Basically means that they're not going to allow him back in. This interregnum period is going to be chaotic. It's already chaotic right now. What do you think it's going to look like on November 6th? Seriously. It's going to get even more chaotic. Why? Because no matter what, whoever wins, the other side's going to be like, oh, look, they did X, Y, and Z. This wasn't fair. Right? We're already seeing it. We saw it yesterday with the AfD thing in Germany. And you'll get all your political talking heads coming out and saying, threat to democracy, threat to democracy, threat to democracy. How is it a democracy if the team that you don't like wins and you're like, oh, we got to remove them? That's not democratic. The, whatchamacallit, Democrats, not conservative, social democrats, whatever they are, in Germany, the main party for a long time, Merkel's party, coming out and saying, oh, well, AfD won. We can't have them. They're terrible. And I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying, coming out and saying that this group who we disagree with has won. We can't let them into office. That's not democracy. And something like that's going to happen over here. And all hell's going to break loose. It's already breaking loose. I mean, come on. Who doesn't think that all hell is breaking loose right now? Sure, you go out the street. The streets aren't on fire. People aren't hunting rhino in a zoo. Like they do in Venezuela, so they can get some meat for the evening. Give that about 20 years. Don't you worry, it's coming. But right now, everything's seemingly okay. But still, everybody can tell it's off. I don't have to take you through the litany of things that are going on now that are kicking that international rules-based order in the nuts, from the BRICS to the wars in the Middle East and the SMO in Eastern Europe and all that. These rising powers that were not really seated at the table, or at least had one of the smaller, in the back row seats. Now they're starting to see an opening, an opportunity, where they can get that big seat at the table. And the world is kind of spiraling out of control. So what's going to happen? What's it going to look like if Trump wins somehow? And I mean, we drove through Montgomery County today, okay? This is the epitome of blue counties in America. Folks, I didn't see one single Harris field, yard, sign, anything like that. Nothing. Not one. No bumper stickers, no shirts, nothing. I mean, these are the kind of people that sit there and will tell you all about veganism for 35 minutes if you happen to brush up next to them while getting something to eat at the local restaurant. So, I know who my bets are on who's going to prevail in 2024. Problem is that he's not going to be allowed to prevail. And what's that going to look like? Well, we've covered that. Depends on a few things. First and foremost, it's going to hurt the economy because the air quotes full faith and credit of the United States is going to be in question. If there's any kind of a war or attack or someone decides to step up because they think there's political chaos in America, that's going to really kick markets in the nuts. And the other thing is that people used to not think that way, and now they do. They're like, oh, well, gosh, look what just happened in America. This is our opportunity. They're sick. That's kind of where we're at right now. Because we are. I mean, we are not doing so hot as a country, if you hadn't noticed. And the people that are in power are not going to want to give that power up. I mean, they can indict a ham sandwich with him. You know, I mean, everything the man does, everywhere he goes, every freaking week, someone's coming out with some new, something or other. Jack Smith came out last week. Oh, we redo things, and it's still going to end up the same way. And where's it going to be when, like he does make it? He prevails. Assuming, of course. What are these people going to do? How are they going to react? There's 85% of Gen Z says they don't want to work with people who are politically different than them. I mean, the psychological operation by the, communist elements of the Democrat Party has been spot on. They've done a great job. Problem is, it's going to be conflictual. It's going to be destructive. Now, what I eventually see, folks, I don't see a CW. I don't. I know. I still stick by that. But I see balkanization. I see the South breaking away. I see other countries. And no, they're not going to come swooping in like Abraham Lincoln. They're going to let it happen. Because honestly, that's what, Mr. Schwartz wants. Giorgio. They want the chaos. They want the country to die. So they can shift things over to Asia. Orange Man Bad is untenable as a president and a leader. Can't have that. Can't have a populist. Can't have a man of the people, right? Assuming, of course, alien lizards aren't running the show. It's going to get crazier, and it's going to get crazier, and it's going to get crazier. Everything is going to suffer because of it. First and foremost, what you're going to feel is the financials. I mean, right now we're having crises of all sorts. We covered a lot of them last night. We covered the things going on with our taxation. Commonwealth's come out and do 25% for unrealized gains, 46% for companies. I mean, these are just politically dead usually, but that's what they want to do. What's gonna happen to a business if their taxation goes up by 7-8%? That's major. That's millions of dollars in certain cases. What they do is they go after labor. Why? Because labor is the number one thing, number one cost a business has. So they're not just going to sit back and let Orange Man Bad win. Okay? They're not. They're going to throw everything at him, whatever it may be. Court cases, lawfare, you name it. Everything else. If he wins, fully expect chaos in the streets, Antifa style. If he loses, as the notification came out today of the young Trump, Eric Donald Jr., they're leaving the country. Because they're not stupid. They know that if it happens, then they're going to be marked for whatever. Because that's what happens. And then from there, what happens to like the regular people? You know, are they going to start going after big radio stars that are, you know, against what's being, you know, done in the country? People that are anti-Kamala? Are they going to start to try to shut those people down? Are they going to shut newspapers down? You know, Brazil just shut down X, and then one of the largest websites, most used websites in the world. It's not outside the realm. Possibility. So what are we going to do? You know, I don't know. You know, I love it when people get mad, like, you know, do something. You know, I asked a guy a question last week. He said, well, you need to go in there. You know, I don't know if I misunderstood him. Okay, so let's pretend that I didn't, but let's play it through. Kind of you know, you need to go in and fix, you know, why'd you move away to the cities? You should sit there and fix them. I have 3 kids. I don't have the ability to fix Washington, D.C. I mean, you want to talk about the peak arrogance. I have no clue how to do that. I don't. I mean, I've got some ideas, but a whole lot of things would have to go right. No one's going to go walking into New York City. Angry Prepper's not going to fix New York City. He's not. These things are going to crumble. And they are. Can't fix that stuff. It's too far. Now, do I want to be there with 3 little kids when it crumbles? No. So if you want to say I'm tucking tail and running, well, I apologize for not being able to single-handedly fix Washington, D.C. A little bit more, you know, kind of preoccupied with making sure that my 6, 10, and 12-year-old have a functional way of at least kind of managing the really screwed up terrain as it goes forward. Meanwhile, we're doing everything we can here to just kind of get away from the system. Next project coming is going to be probably solar. Build on the shed to turn that into a place with power using solar power. Just first and foremost so I can understand it. You know, because I have an understanding, but I don't know what it's like long term. So that's what we're doing. Because the time between, I mean, I don't see how they let Donald John Trump take over. I don't see how one person is going to fix everything. I don't see how brainwashed people are going to suddenly be unbrainwashed to have an open mind that maybe the things that have just been beaten into their heads their entire lives of the way life is supposed to be is going to somehow magically get, you know, bested in their mind by some good political talking points and make it so they undo all of that and say, suddenly come to Jesus and say, oh, well, free markets. Wow. Oh, small local government. And yeah, whoa, yeah, I'm into that. Never thought of that. It's the way it's supposed to be. But they don't want it that way. No, we're living through the different stages of Rules for Radicals by Saul Alinsky, as promoted by people that know how to implement it. Communists, effectively. And it is a quasi-communism that they want to push. It really is. That's why they're going to start to hit you with, oh, well, you know, communism, it you know, hasn't worked before, but it's going to work soon. Sure. Yeah. All you have to do is make sure you don't cross anyone and you know, live in the squalor that they want you to have. So, Trump ain't going to be allowed in, folks. And from there, chaos is going to ensue. It's going to take a while. In the meantime, our financial situation will spiral out of control. Other countries will notice that America, the big dog, is no longer in control. And they're going to take advantage of that. And then you're going to start to see wars break out. And then you're going to start to see major crap come down and really start to screw things up in the world. And there will be no one there to say stop it. And at that point, what you have on your little square portion of land is going to be what you have. So are you set up? That's where we're going, in my mind. So, will Trump become president? I would bet he'll get the most votes. Will he be allowed to get in? I don't know. I don't think so. And then from there, it's all going to spiral out of control. And here we are. Tell me your thoughts. What do you think, Sam? Maybe you think it is going to be a CW. Maybe you think that none of this is important. Maybe you think that there actually are lizard people that are running the show. I don't know. You can say it, As it says in the rules, that's what the rules are. Don't attack the person, attack the concept. Attack the idea. Beat the opinion. Beat it, best it. Come in. Give me your best stuff. What's really going on? Change my mind. I'm fully able to do that too, by the way. So, all right, friends. Just want to get on here and have a little thought process game on this whole thing. Donald John Trump will not be allowed to be president. So, what will it look like in between November and January? I think it's going to be chaotic, and from there, financial problems are going to really, really take off. And could be looking square in the eye of something resembling a Great Depression 2.0. But we shall see. Meantime, you should keep prepping, doing things. Get your house in order. Okay? God bless, and we'll see you on the next one.